Hi everyone, and welcome to today's education session, which is all to do with meal planning and prep and how it can help you save time while trying to eat well in line with your goals. So let's look at kind of what meal prep is, because when I often say meal prep, this is what people visualize. A lot of Tupperware pots, a lot of set meals planned out. In the bottom right-hand corner, there's a very stereotypical kind of fitness bodybuilder style meal prep, which is some quite dry chicken with some quite dry rice with some very probably dry broccoli. And that's what they deem meal prep. Even if it wasn't quite that, I'm going to use the word boring. It's really looking like people going crazy on Tupperware, putting absolutely everything into pots in regards to all their snacks, all their meals, all their breakfast cereals, everything. And sometimes that can look like kind of the same meal kind of 3 or 4 days. So this is our starting point. And let's talk about meal prepping to start with, and let's talk about the pros of it so you can see where this might help you if you are on a fat loss journey and you want some control over what you're eating. So it's definitely going to save you time, okay? So as a con that's going to come up in a minute, probably, obviously it's going to take time to create in the first place, but once it's created, every time you hit a meal, you're literally going to be taking something out of a fridge or a freezer, and you're going to either be eating it straight away, or you're just going to be popping it maybe into a microwave for a couple of minutes to warm up. So it really reduces the time for preparation when you're at that meal times perspective. It's probably going to save you some money because you can get my words out, bulk buy ingredients. You probably have less wastage. You don't need so many probably ingredients because you're eating a lot of similar foods on repeat. And because when you get confident with cooking, you generally kind of can make savings in regards to buying stuff and even bigger packages as well. It's a lot easier to control your portions when you are meal prepping. Generally speaking as well, this comes down to the fact that you have a set size Tupperware pot and you're probably going to be equally splitting your food out that you've prepared equally across these pots. So you're not going to be going back for seconds, so there will be no seconds. That's kind of your meal for the next day that you'll be nicking from. And I said it's very controlled, and generally eating in a pot, generally you end up with less food than if you would put it onto a dinner plate anyway. So it's very good for portion controlling what you're trying to eat. People that meal prep generally will eat healthier options because they're going to the effort of meal prepping and portion out everything in advance. They're probably doing that with the best intentions of choosing foods that are going to meet their goals, whether that's the calories or whether that's some kind of nutrients and proteins and all that stuff. They're more likely to make healthy choices in advance when they're prepping. And then if you've got the option of having something ready-made, already prepped in your bag, or going 10 minutes down the road to a shop to get something that might be less nutrient dense, maybe higher calories, maybe higher process, you are probably going to actually go for the one that you've already got ready, because that's actually in that instance the most convenient option. And that's generally why we sometimes go for the less healthy options, because they're deemed most convenient. Whereas when you meal prep for yourself, actually the meal you made is the most convenient meal for you to eat. Reduces food waste, as I said, I touched on. So from two things: one, you're probably going to portion meals out, so there isn't actually very much surplus. So you're eating to 80% full, kind of mindful eating practice will probably already be incorporated. So actually your whole meal in your Tupperware pot probably will get you to the 80% full, not the 100% full anyway. And obviously you are going to be hopefully using most of the ingredients you buy, not having a bit of it one day, leaving it in the fridge and then forgetting about it and then it going off. And as I touched on, meal prep is a very convenient option. So it helps you stay in line with your goals, whereas other options then that used to be deemed convenient can become less convenient in comparison. So the cons of meal prepping. So as I touched on, it is time consuming in the initial period, okay? So getting all your pots to look like this, obviously it's going to take time. There's the cooking or the prep of the food initially. There's probably some weighing out of ingredients that's going on. And then there's obviously the portioning things into each pot and then storing all the way. That is going to take time. Monotony. I can't say that word, but I don't know why I wrote it down. It is going to be quite monotonous. You'll probably, if you're going through the stage of meal prep, you probably are prepping a similar meal, maybe the same lunch for 3 or 4 days, the same dinners for 3 or 4 days, the same snacks, because it's already going to take you enough time to do that. If you're then trying to have a lot of variety, it's going to take you even longer. So they do end up being quite monotonous. Now, you can get over that by every week kind of having some variety, but kind of during the week you'd probably eat quite similar foods, and then next week you could try something different, for example. So not only is that going to restrict kind of things from a taste perspective, things might get a little bit boring, but also from a kind of nutrients perspective, it can be quite repetitive and you might miss out on some other nutrients that week if you're only eating the same foods. Storage issues can be a thing that's an issue here, because yes, it contains it into some nice little Tupperware pot, so it might be stackable, but you still need to have ample space in your fridge or your freezer to take this food. If you're the type of person that kind of just buys food on the go, you're not obviously ever storing it. If you're now going to be making a week's worth of food in one go and put it in your fridge, storage is going to be important for that one. It can feel like quite a lot of pressure emotionally or mindfully in regards to doing it, because you have to plan ahead. You have to prep, you have to think about what foods you're going to either want to eat or you need to eat. So that can take a bit of mental power and exhaustion from that way. It definitely lacks spontaneity. So if you've planned and you've not just planned what you're going to have 5 years ahead, but it's already in Tupperware pot with the day on it, there is very little spontaneity to move away from that. You're eating that meal on that day, especially if you're eating the same food for lunch every day, the same food for dinner every day, the same food for snacks every day. There isn't much to interchange between the two. Quality concerns. So obviously some food stores are a lot better than others, but if you are eating a diet that's quite nutrient dense, so lots of vegetables and fresh lean proteins that are cooked, if you're storing them for several days in advance, you are going to find the quality of those products do start going downhill slightly, and there might be a bit of a balancing act in regards to the taste and the texture against kind of the convenience of them. And the last thing I've got on here, which for a lot of my customers that might be listening to this, is really important, is it's actually not very flexible when being with a family. So if you live in a household with a partner and 2 kids, and all your food is prepped ready to go because it hit your targets, where's that leave the rest of your family? Are you then cooking for them additionally, or are you actually meal prepping for them as well? So then you're kind of doubling or tripling or quadrupling the amount of food you're preparing in one go, so that your fridge is totally full of those nice takeaway Tupperware boxes. So considering how this type of meal prep that I showed in those pictures works in your family dynamics is really important, because if we're looking long term here in regards to creating patterns of behavior that are going to help you lose fat now but also maintain that fat loss in the future, we want to figure out ways that are going to work for you and your family, not just yourself. That's actually a pro I've got to put on though. Opposite to that, obviously, if you do maybe live independently and have a lot of your meals by yourself, actually it can really help because you are fully in control. Okay, so here's some more pictures in regards to what I would say is kind of more the middle ground of meal prep, and would often call this batch cooking. So as you see the pictures now, we haven't got Tupperware pots of set meals. We haven't got our protein and our carbohydrates and our veg already pre-portioned out into each Tupperware pot. We've instead just cooked lots of different ingredients or prepared lots of different ingredients and got them ready to go. So top right corner, we've got 2 roast chickens, and then obviously there's a lot of other dishes, chickpeas and cooked carrots and cooked rice and cooked boiled eggs. And in the bottom left corner, a lovely amount of lasagnas seem to be getting cooked, and bologneses getting cooked as well. Now, this is a good option for several people that are looking at meal prep, but it doesn't quite fit for them. So as I said, I would kind of turn meal prep into calling this batch cooking. They're kind of a bit interchangeable, but I would say meal prep is where your whole meal is prepared. Batch cooking is where you're just cooking extra amounts of different foods. So as I said, a lot of the benefits are going to be very similar to meal prep, but there's a bit more kind of flex in it, which we'll talk through. So the number one pro in regards to this compared to kind of meal prep is variety and versatility, because you're now going to have the freedom to choose what different elements of those ingredients and those things you produce you want to put together to create a meal. So you can every day have similar ingredients, but totally change the taste of them in regards to the few extra maybe condiments you make, or whether you put it with a wrap or with a pita bread or with a jack potato or with some extra rice or with some pasta. You can take all those core ingredients that you've cooked already and make them into a lot of extra dishes, creating that variety and versatility that a lot of us want, either from a taste perspective or from a incorporating our family's desires perspective. Linked to that is spontaneity, so you can be way more spontaneous with this. You don't have to have every single meal for the week planned out. You can kind of change your mind on the day, go with how you feel, go with your mood, go with your energy levels, go whether you're wanting something hot or you're wanting something cold, whether you're wanting something bigger, whether you're wanting something smaller, because you can actually plate up a meal based on how you're feeling in that moment and not what you felt like when you put it in a Tupperware box 3 days ago. It still really does encourage healthy eating, especially if you are prepping foods like getting a bulk load of salad with lots of different ingredients in. It might be you put a couscous salad and a pasta salad with it as well. Might be you cut up lots of raw vegetables. It might be you've cut up a lot of fruit as well. So you kind of made a bit of fruit salad thing. If you've already got those things ready to go, you're a lot more likely to add them to dishes. So let's say you have made lasagna, but you've also made a really big side salad. It's going to be very easy just to dump that side salad on your lasagna plate now without it taking any time. Whereas if I said to you, right, you've got to get out the cucumber and cut off 3 slices, get out a pepper, cut off 3 slices. You're going to get a tomato, cut one of them in half. You're going to go and get 3 different types of lettuce leaf. You're going to put a bit of them on your plate. Then you're going to get some spring onions and you're going to chop them up. Oh, and then actually you're going to cook a little bit of couscous because you want actually a little bit of like a couscous salad with it. You're going to do that as well. You're not going to do it, okay? You'll probably just eat the lasagna or at most put a token bit of iceberg lettuce on the side. But all those vegetables in your salad already cut up, ready to go. You can just chuck it on the side, job done, easy to eat, healthy. Same with the fruit. If you've already got fruit already cut up, it's so much easier to chuck that in your bowl of cereal, your bowl of porridge, have it as a late night snack. Put it on a bit of chocolate cake, so you're kind of having what you kind of want for a kind of higher sugary treat, as well as some fruit to kind of balance out those calories as well. So it really can encourage healthy eating by just having the good stuff ready and available to go. The good thing about batch cooking is really good for family dynamics. So if you are sitting down for a family meal and you know everyone's got slightly different likes and dislikes, you've now basically got like a buffet of cooked food or prepared food that you can interchange to make meals that are going to satisfy all your different goals and all your different tastes. So you have got the salad that you can chuck on your plate. Your partner then might not want to put the salad on, but they might have a load of cooked roasted vegetables that they want to put on their plate instead. It can be that your kid doesn't have any of that if they're really fussy, but you've still got some cooked meats ready to put on. And even if you cook them something in addition, let's say some chips, you already got your food already ready to go. And it also means then if you've got a lot of this batch cooked food or batch prepared food in the fridge ready to go, then especially kids that may be older, maybe teenagers, or partners that might not be so good at cooking, they have got convenient food ready to go. So it actually helps the whole family be healthy because there's always food in the house that isn't just going to the snack cupboard. And batch cooking is really as well, because whereas on the meal prep, you're probably doing that all in one big go, getting your whole week's food in one go, and you need a good chunk of time to do that. Batch cooking, you can kind of just do it as you go. So on a Monday night, if you're cooking a dinner, you can batch cook a few extra things or double the recipe. So actually that sees you through for a couple of meals later on in the week and vice versa. So you can just kind of utilize when the oven's on and think, what else can I do here? What can I double the recipe of? What can I chuck in the oven at the same time? All those things spreads the demand of when you have to batch cook to help you. It kind of can be a revolving door, not a kind of a prep for the week and that's it done. Okay, how to optimize meal prep and batch cooking. This needs some planning. So this is when the other terminology comes in called meal planning, which is basically just writing yourself an idea of what you're going to eat and when. Okay. Now, some people love to meal plan. They have spreadsheets. Some people always have just grown up with it. So like it's always fish and chips on a Tuesday. It's always sausage and this on a Thursday. Oh, it's a Sunday. It's definitely a roast dinner. And they're actually quite structured because that's how they've been brought up. And actually that is basically what we're trying to do. But we're probably trying to do it now to really fit in line with your goals. So whether you are planning a few days ahead, whether you're planning a week ahead, whether you're planning 2 weeks ahead, having a plan on what you're going to want to eat is going to really help your meal prep and your batch cooking because you know what you need. So by planning, here are the big benefits. if you're specifically looking for fat loss, or at least maintaining maybe a lower level of fat that you've achieved. This one is going to help you plan your calories throughout the whole day. So we're not just looking at individual meals now, we're looking at how do they incorporate together to create your daily total. That works exactly the same from a protein point of view, which, as you know, probably if you're getting coached by me, we rank protein quite highly in regards to things to focus on for a numerous amount of reasons. And if you plan your whole day and then your whole week, you can see where your protein figures are. You can see where there's quite big gaps where you're not going to reach your protein targets, and you can kind of adjust accordingly. You can also plan your meals in based on, you know, that you're going to feel satisfied, you're going to be energized, and you're going to have enjoyment. So it might be, if you're looking at your snacks throughout the week, you don't want to just go, right, I'm not having any sugary snacks, no processed snacks at all. It might be, do you know what, every day I'm going to have 2 snacks, and one's going to be fruit and one's going to be something that I'll class more as a sweet treat. And if you plan them in, it's amazing what that release does to you in regards to knowing you've given yourself permission to have these snacks. You know they're going to fit within your calorie goals, you know they're going to fit within your protein targets, and you've allowed them with permission to be in your food. You can also really make this work around, as I said, your energy requirements. So if you know, like I do, there's certain days that I work a lot longer days. They're the days that I might incorporate an extra snack, or I might incorporate a slightly bigger meal, or I might incorporate a meal that's got more protein in to provide me the energy I'm going to need to get through that day. Equally, there's days that I know my energy requirements aren't so high. I can actually bring those calories down, maybe take out a snack accordingly. So seeing it on paper can really help you kind of take control of your eating habits. So there are lots of benefits there. Next benefit I'll discuss is kind of reducing decision fatigue. So decision fatigue is basically where your brain gets exhausted from making decisions. And I'm sure you've found that if you think about it. If you come home from a long day of work where your kids are asking you 101 questions, and you're trying to decide where you're going on holiday, you're trying to decide when you're going to go and see your grandparents, all these things, and then you're hit with 2 children that only eat 2 different types of food. You are trying to meet some calorie targets and try and lose fat. Your husband doesn't want to eat the foods that you want to eat. And your brain is just like, I cannot make a decision. I don't know what to do. That's when quite often it makes the wrong decision. This takes it all out of the equation because you've already planned. You're not making a decision. You're just following an instruction that you basically made for yourself earlier. So it's amazing for decision fatigue. That being said, do not do meal planning when you're already exhausted mentally, okay? Meal planning is something you do when you have time, when you have some mental capacity, not at the end of the day when your brain is frazzled. Okay, meal planning really helps in regards to willpower as well. So a bit like the decision fatigue, a lot of people rely on willpower, especially when they're in fat loss, to just hope that in the moment they're going to make the right decision, hope in the moment that they're going to make a decision that's more optimized for their goals, and rely on willpower to do that instead of like the habitual nature of making decisions. Again, you've got a plan in place. You not only willpower, you're just going to follow what it says, and that is the habit that will build, that you just follow what it says. Follow what you plan for, follow what you prep, follow what you bought in the shops for that week. Meal planning across the week is really good as well for highlighting any time pressures. So there will be times of your week, especially probably as working parents, that a lot of you are, where you know you do not have time to cook. And it is literally about, you've got a 10-minute window where your kid comes in from school, they need to get changed, they need to eat tea, and then you need to get back out to clubs, and then you come home from that club, and then you go to maybe your own fitness class yourself, and then you get home and then it's 9 o'clock, and then you need to try and eat. You know there's going to be days like that which you need food that is quick and easy to eat at a time that's appropriate for you. And if you meal plan, you can figure that out. You can figure out where my time restraints, I definitely can't cook, but maybe I need something quick to eat. And times actually do have some flexibility to cook. Maybe you know you're always in a house on a Wednesday afternoon or evening, and actually that is a time that maybe you could do a little bit of batch cooking. So it helps you pinpoint these times so you can plan again what you're cooking and what you're eating accordingly to fit that. Meal planning really helps reduce food waste, like we talked about on the earlier ones, because you are now able to buy food, buy your shopping based on a plan for the week. If it's not on the plan, is there any point buying the food? And as I touched on again, it can really work around family meal times as well. So you can have a meal plan that doesn't just incorporate your eating habits, but also, if you want to go wider, your whole kids and families' eating habits as well. And you can look at on your plan, right, my child doesn't like these foods, I'm going to have the foods that he doesn't like or she doesn't like at times that they're not in here. And then the times that I am eating with my family, I'm going to have the meals that I know that they all like, or something along that, so you can switch around things, optimizing your family situation and everyone's eating kind of situation around you. Okay, so step one in regards to how to meal plan, I would always start with kind of your normal, because I don't want you to think, right, and I got 7 days, I've got 3 meals a day, there's 21 meals I need to create from scratch. No, no, no. As long as you're already in the stage that you're starting to eat more nutritional food, you've already started to introduce protein into your diet and stuff, let's just look at normal, okay? Let's plug those numbers in, let's plug that plan in first. Think about what you ate last week, the stuff you enjoyed, let's get onto that plan. Then what we're going to do, and I'm going to show you an example of this in a minute, is plug in the rough calories and rough protein in those meals. Now, if you've been tracking for a while, you can look back on your tracking and see what those calories were and see what that protein were. If you haven't been, or you're going to be following a recipe, just have a look at the details of the recipe to get the calories and the protein off, so you have something to guide you to start with. Based off that, you can then start making some switches. So if you've got days that have gone over on your calories, you can remove one of those meals or make that portion smaller to try and get down to your calorie target. And also your proteins, you can see, is there big gaps in your protein targets on certain days? How can you switch them around? As I talked about a moment ago, you can make adjustments based on your schedule. So when you're going to be working, when you're on school runs, when you've got school clubs, when you've got social events, hobbies and exercise, and all those things that you need to incorporate. You might even want to chuck them on your plan. If they're not up here, put them on the plan so you know when you're making the decisions on what you're eating and when, you've already thought about all those hurdles that might come up. And the last one is consider times that you might be hungrier. So as I touched on earlier, I know if I've got a long working day, I'm probably going to be hungrier, but I'm also maybe not going to have that many times to eat. So that can actually make a decision on actually, do I have fewer meals that are bigger meals, or do I have lots of small meals that I just grab in between kind of clients and work as well? You know your best scenario. So think about your day and where your time pressures are going to be. Think about, are you going to need more energy? Have you got a big walk or a big exercise session plan that you know always creates a little bit more hunger and you might want to add an extra 100 calories in? Are you hitting your menstrual cycle period and you know that you're always going to be hungrier this week and you just want maybe allow yourself 100, 200 extra calories per day just to add a little bit of satiety to your day? Are the days that you're going to have an earlier or a later start, which again, you might want to incorporate an extra snack maybe to get you through it. And then you can create a plan that looks a bit like this, which I said, you don't need to read all of it now, but I've obviously got the days of the week on the top. Now I've started the week on a Sunday, and I've done that because Sundays are generally my day that I will be able to prepare quite a lot of food. Oh, what is that? Hey. Oh, this is going well. Let's share a screen again. See where we go. We're going to just carry on like nothing's happened. I don't know if it's recording or not. Okay. So, I said, I start on Sunday because that's a day that I generally can prepare and bulk prepare a lot of stuff. So we'll come on to that in a minute, which is why I put it at the start rather than at the end, because my Sunday kind of feeds into the week ahead rather than ending it. At the bottom, I've gone through my calories. So I'm trying to keep roughly around 1,700 calories on this target and roughly around 100 grams of protein on this target. So I've moved stuff around on certain days to try and make sure I'm hitting those numbers roughly on there as well. You'll see some days like the Sunday, I haven't actually put in a morning snack and I haven't put in a nighttime kind of bedtime snack, because generally I don't find I eat those, because generally I'll find I'll have breakfast a little bit earlier on a Sunday. I'll generally find I'll quite often eat out on a Sunday lunchtime, and I'll quite often make a roast dinner at some point. So those portions of food are generally bigger anyway. And I just then timing wise don't feel like I need an extra snack in there. But I have also incorporated things like on the Sunday having a piece of cake out and about, which is higher calorie, because I want you to include all the stuff that you might have, all these niceties, all these things that are actually going to come with a bit of a higher calorie tag, get them on there. Okay, so that is my kind of schedule for the week. And I said, you'll be able to see this on the PDF slides if you are looking. And then we look at, right, let's identify on there times that we're going to be able to batch cook and bulk cook food and see how we can kind of shimmy them into my plan. Now, I've already done it, but I've done it on that last plan beforehand, just got to show you. So I looked and go, right, I know I'm free on a Monday night. So the tea that maybe I cook on a Monday night, I could actually now have on a Tuesday and a Wednesday, maybe. I know that I've got time on a Sunday. So what can I cook on a Sunday that I can then replicate across other days in the week as well? So many notes coming up. I am sorry. Okay. So check that, I said, what you planned is achievable in regards to your time. And then have a think about, even if you can't cook at the exact time of that meal. So let's say you're looking at your dinner on a Wednesday night, you know you're not free on a Wednesday night to cook, but are you free on a Wednesday lunchtime to cook instead? Or in a Wednesday morning, can you cook then and then eat it later and adjust your plan to fit? So this is my plan now, but what we are now looking at on it is I've highlighted in different colours the things that are duplicated. So I've cooked roast dinner on the Sunday. That same chicken is now going to get eaten on the Monday lunchtime, the Tuesday night, the Wednesday lunchtime. I've made salad on one occasion and I'm eating it on 6 occasions. I've made overnight oats on one occasion, I'm eating it on 2 occasions, and so on. You can see there's a lot of duplications across my week, and I make sure I duplicate them in the time frame that that food is going to last, okay? So I know overnight oats, I can easily leave them fridge for 2 days. I probably won't go to 3. So I'll make sure that if I'm cooking it once or making it once, I say I'm having it in consecutive days. Chicken, I'm probably pushing to, it's kind of, I say extreme, it will go another day or 2, but I'm having that consistently. And so, yeah, I'll try and make sure that if I am duplicating a meal, it's happening 1 or 2 days after to keep within the lifespan. And then this actually looks at, within that schedule, when am I actually cooking? Okay, because if I'm not cooking, everything's gonna be really easy. If I'm just assembling some food out of some pre-cooked, pre-prepped things, that's gonna be super quick. If it's something that's already raw or cold or in a packet that I don't need to cook, that's gonna be quick. I'm just concerned about checking that the time commitments I've given myself to cook are reasonable. So Sunday, I'm cooking pancakes in the morning, that's fine. I'm cooking roast dinner at some point in the evening, that's fine. Then I've got literally one meal to cook on a Monday night, porridge on a Tuesday morning, just some pasta on a Tuesday night. So all the other stuff going with the pasta is cooked. So just boiling some pasta, I can definitely fit that on a Tuesday. Wednesday is a busy night. I've given myself a pizza. I'm pretty sure I can give myself a pizza and I've got time to do that. Thursday, I know I have time at lunchtime, so I'm going to cook some scrambled eggs. Thursday night, I know either me or my partner's going to have time to cook lasagna. That lasagna probably will actually get cooked about 3 hours earlier at lunchtime, but I know I got time to cook it. Friday, I know I can do some porridge cooking. Friday, I know that I can probably do some lunch cooking. Saturday night, I've just given myself some time to cook a curry. That's it. Okay, so every day I'm basically cooking on one occasion. Now I can reduce this even less. I don't need to have those cooked breakfasts. They could be raw. To be honest, those cooked breakfasts take me probably about 2 minutes longer than cooking something raw anyway, like cereal. So they're not really a big cook. So really, I'm talking about over the week, maybe 4 or 5 times of properly turning the oven on. That's it. Achievable in my world, you would fix this to make it achievable for your world. So next things then, we just would highlight to make sure when we're actually planning on batch cooking with this. So the one before kind of showed you when I need to cook. This is going to show me when I need to cook extra. So on the Sunday, I need to cook 1 extra chicken and I need to cut up some salad. Now that salad I could do on the Monday when I'm actually first eating the salad, but I know time is tight on the Monday, so I'm going to move that to the Sunday. Monday, when I'm cooking a stir fry, I'm just going to make double the portion, another 2, because what I'm doing here is I'm not considering what I just want the next day. I'm cooking for my partner or for my child. So sometimes I know it's something just my partner will eat. Sometimes I know it's something my partner and my child will eat. So I kind of adjust the portions accordingly. So I'm doubling up on the stir fry for just me and my partner. The pasta, I'm going to cook an extra 3 portions because I know my kid will eat that. The overnight oats is only for me, so I'm only doing 1 extra of them. The lasagna is going to be for all of us. I'm going to do an extra 3 portions of that. And the chorizo hash that I do on Friday, I'm going to cook 2 portions for me and my husband again. So I can see what are the added things I'm going to be cooking throughout the week. And again, I'm just going to make sure that that is sustainable and that is actually achievable with my time constraints. And I know that is. And then the last thing on that is you're then going to write a shopping list based on that. Now, I haven't given my shopping list, but you can literally go through your shopping list now and you know, right, I need to buy 2 chickens. I need to buy probably 2 bags of lettuce, a cucumber, a pepper, whatever it is else I want to put in my salad. I know I need enough pork to make stir fry for 4 people. I know I need to buy Make sure I got enough pasta for those dishes. Now, a lot of that stuff's going to be store cupboard stuff anyway, but you can just go through and go, have I got all those ingredients I need? Yes, on my shopping list, and then that's it. So here are my top tips to finish. This are top tips across meal prep, bulk cooking, meal planning, because you will probably want to do a combination of any of these depending on you and your situation. First off, get yourself some airtight containers. Now, if you've had a takeaway in the past, which you probably have, your takeaway pots are brilliant for this. Or if you want to go down to IKEA and get something fancy with a glass lid and a wooden top, that's fine. Get something that's airtight, get something that you can also microwave, because then you have less dishes. All about time efficiency here. You don't need to put it on a plate, you can just eat it out the dish, it's fine. It's going to obviously help in regards to storage. It's going to help in regards to reheating. It's also going to really help in regards to keeping stuff fresh. So if you are making salads or fruits, cut up fruit or whatever, stick it in an air container, tight container. It's going to last way, way longer than if you just leave it out in the fridge getting wilted. Reheat stuff either in the microwave, or my top tip is an air fryer. So if you've got any food that needs a bit of texture to it and you find that microwave makes it all soft, air fryers are amazing for it. 2 minutes in air fryer and everything's crisp and lovely again. Top tips for getting fruit and vegetable in is cut them up in advance. Okay, so if you know that you're actually going to want to have a pear or an apple one day, I cut it up in the morning because I know I'll then eat it. If I leave it whole, it probably won't get eaten. So chop it up in advance. Try and keep your lunch and your evening meals quite similar in calories, because I find then if you do want a bit of spontaneity or life throws a wobbler, you can interchange them really easily without it affecting your calories. So it might be that what was meant to be your lunch next day becomes a dinner today. So I've had days I've had the same thing to eat at lunchtime and dinner, because that's what happened. I ran out of time, and instead of panicking, thinking I have nothing to eat tonight, I'm going to eat something crap, I just nicked tomorrow's lunch, and I thought I'd deal with tomorrow's lunch when I get there. You can spread your protein across the whole day. So I said by planning, you can see that to get your protein targets kind of anywhere near successful, you want to be getting the protein in right from the early stages. Plan in anything you're going to potentially want as a treat. So I always think it's better to over plan and then unconsume, the other way around. So if you know you quite often on a Saturday end up stopping off at a coffee shop somewhere and you might eat a piece of cake that's 400 or 500 calories, just stick it in your plan. It's there. You don't have to eat it, but you do know then that you've allocated it within your calories. Don't be afraid to use some convenience-based products. So I am a huge fan of boiling the bag rice, because obviously rice you're not meant to keep reheating. So I'd much prefer to kind of have my curry or my stir fry or whatever it is cooked, and then while that's warming back up, I just boil the bag of rice at the same time. So do that. Microwave steamed vegetables are an amazing way of adding in some fresh vegetables. So if you don't want them kind of going soggy and being cooked and stuck in the fridge for 2 or 3 days, just use the microwave steamed veg just to add something really quick to your meal. And think about the shelf life of items. So as I touched on, some foods are going to degrade quite quickly in the fridge. So don't plan for them being there too long, if that's going to ruin their enjoyment. Okay, sometimes actually only preparing to bulk cook for 2 days is better than try and bulk cook for 4 days if you know the freshness is going to be better. And that's it. Okay, that's a whistle-stop tour. So there's nothing fancy, there's nothing kind of exact science about it. It's just about planning ahead, making more food than you need at the time so you've got meals to eat in the future, and then only buying foods that you need for your plan. Okay, if there's other foods in your house, you're really, really likely to eat them. So don't let them in your house. Only buy the food you need. Allow yourself some sweet treats so you're not constantly banning yourself, and take control of your eating habits and take control of your goals. Take care. Thank you so much.